So I ended up leaving the film industry to start my own company and was really able to have the autonomy and flexibility that I needed in order to also care for my kids. So he didn't go into daycare after that. I would do basically my shift would be like 6:30 a.m. He would wake up and then I would be with him until his nap time, and then I would work during his nap time, and then around 7:30 he would go to bed and I would work from 7:30 till maybe 2 in the morning, and I would start that all over again. So that was like my
So you're sleeping for 3 hours, 4 hours? Oh my God.
We are the
Get Reelisms podcast.
I am Adam Chase Rani.
And I am Christine Chen. And surprise, we're both filmmakers.
We get into it by sharing secrets, advice, and gossip in filmmaking.
We even get our other filmmaking friends to share theirs too.
So please, everybody, join us for an
ode to
filmmaking.
We're doing it. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another episode of the Get Reelisms podcast, episode 193. 193, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam Chase Rani.
And I'm Christine Chen. And today we have a very special guest. She is my bestie here in Los Angeles and also super talented. Mai, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
I will do that. Hi, everyone. I'm Mailyne Briggs of Kilam Media. My friends know me as Mai. I have a production company here in Los Angeles as well as in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I'd like to say my bread and butter is marketing, and I primarily produce, write, and direct.
Woo!
I'm also a mom. I need to add that in there.
Yes.
Yes,
That's a full-time job. 200%.
Full-time job.
that is a full-time job.
Yes, she has a hungry boys.
Hungry boys.
Perpetually hungry. Every time I see her, she's like, they just don't stop eating.
That's what little boys do, yeah. I was a monster. I would destroy a box of cereal like Lucky Charms in 48 hours when I was a child.
Okay.
I was a monster when I was growing up. My mom always made fun of me about it. So yeah, what's going on, Christine? You got a guest. So what's new?
Yeah, so Mai's awesome. Mai was one of my first friends here in Los Angeles, and how Mai and I met was when I first moved to Los Angeles, I looked up a lot of different organizations to join, and one of the organizations that popped up on my radar when I Googled film events or film things on Facebook group was Film Girlz Brunch. That popped up, and they had their first event happened, and I went. I was very lucky to go to their very first event in Los Angeles, and they had just started. I remember it was in Hollywood, and I went and I ran into Mai, and I actually couldn't remember anybody's names, but I just remember Mai being very nice and the event being super fun. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I guess not everybody in LA is a dick. So this is good.
I was about to say that's all it took for Christine is like, she was nice to me.
Yeah.
I remember.
Like, yay. Thank you. And then it really took the second event for me to be like, Mai remembered my name, which made me feel bad because I was like, oh God, I don't remember anybody's names because I'm a squirrel when it comes to people and names. It's nothing personal. I'm just really dumb when it comes to names, like really bad, to a point where I go to places and people always remember my name, and I'm always just, my second AD in Austin, Carly, I jokingly tell her, she's, the people who, like, presidents will keep somebody who will always lean in and whisper who that person that's about to walk up to you, like what that person's name is. I need one of those people with me at all times. All right, that's Mr. and Mrs. whoever that's about to approach you. You met them at this time on this set. Blah blah blah, and then by the time they reach me, I'll be like, "Oh, hi, Jane. Like, how are you? Oh, yes. Remember? Yeah, I need that."
To be fair, though, that's everyone on set, though. Every time I show up to set, I'm just like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And they're like, you are? And I'm like, we worked together on 5 different shoots, you jerk. Like, you don't remember my name? Are you kidding me? We worked in the same department, an art department. There's people who don't remember me. They're just like, Adam is just a very common white boy name, dude. Sorry. It's just, you're just kind of lost with the rest of them.
My nice faces, and I know I've worked with you, and I know names are not my forte. Like,
Yeah.
Very bad. But I can remember random facts, like that's a cumulus cloud. Random ass science facts, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the grackle. Yeah, like random ass science facts, no problem. But your name, yeah. So, anyways, mine was super nice again at the event, and she was like, "You want to come hang out at this other event?" And then I was like, "Yeah." So they show up at the event, and it wasn't an event; it was like a very personal. It was an event, but it was a personal part.
It was a gathering
Party with,
a
like,
congregation.
But it was like at her house of just her close friends, and I was like,
Oh, that's chill.
I was like, this girl wants me to be her friend.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, somebody wants me to be my friend. That's how I became friends with Mai. But yes. So
and it's been 4 beautiful years.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been 4 years? Right on.
Yeah. She literally was my first friend.
Wow.
Yeah, I had just moved to LA, and similarly, I had gone to the first Film Girlz Brunch, which now
She founded one of the founders.
Yeah. And
Oh,
one
okay.
of the founders of it.
Right on.
So it was like serendipitous, but like when you see another cool Asian woman, you're like,
Asian.
Yeah.
you're like, you do stuff like me too.
Well, especially with how competitive LA is. It's, I don't know, I guess a rarity, right? I don't live in LA, but I would imagine it's very much cutthroat and no one likes you.
So coming from a pretty much conservative city, I grew up in the capital of Canada, which is Ottawa. Born in the Philippines, raised in Ottawa. But it was definitely one of those moments where I thought I knew the industry, and I'd worked at a film studio in the Philippines and all of this stuff. But you get dropped into LA and you're suddenly like, holy shit, I am a small fish in a massive ocean. You're like, I do not matter here. The 10 plus years of working in this industry in what I thought was like a high tier capacity is, like these people know what's up, like more than I've ever imagined. So I think it just keeps going out. So yeah, it was very much like, I'm a little fish swimming around. There's a lot of sharks, of sharks.
A lot of, I was going to say a lot of dickhead fishes, but yeah, sharks too. Yeah.
A lot of stingrays, a lot of danger, a lot of danger. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is just, it's not dicks. It's just more it's just hard to determine who is a real person that has your back and who is there to stomp on you to get to what they need.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
And you learn that pretty quickly. If you're navigating the industry, going to networking events and like working on set and like really trying to connect within the first year, you'll pretty much know who's going to eat you alive and who cares. Like,
you can read them. Yeah.
It's pretty quick. Yeah. So that's why when you meet someone who's like,
I
down
like
to
you. Be
collaborate.
my friend.
You're like,
I love you.
like,
Please hang out.
Rare.
I love you. Like, get away. Please stop.
Yeah.
I need space. You're like, no space.
Pretty much. I'm a very like introvert. I grew up in a way that like it takes me a while to trust someone. So I was like, why does this person like me? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
leave me alone.
Come back. I'm the opposite.
Yeah, Christine really is the antithesis of an introvert. Just let's do stuff. Let's go. We're gonna do things. I'm like, oh man, I'm stressed out. I gotta think, bro. Dang, dude.
I collect introverts apparently.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, because I'm roughly the same. But I feel spoiled really here in Austin because it feels like, I don't know, the film community here in Austin is just like everyone is like hey man, like I can't work on this gig, but you can. Like you got this gig, I got another gig, or I have kids, I got things going on. Like people really look out for each other here. So like when I hear that, and we've had countless episodes of this with Christine when she first moved to LA, and just going through the motions of it all, and she was like, there's a lot of assholes here. And
it's just a lonely city. You're surrounded by,
it's an isolating city, for sure.
It's so huge. Like
it's huge.
I talk about this all the time because if you didn't grow up here and you grew up in a smaller town or a smaller city, you expect it to be a way that you just can't let it be that way. It's its own city with millions of people in it, right?
Yeah.
Like it just, I don't know. I always think you have to watch it. Like when I first moved here, I was like, I'm going to come here. I'm going to observe how it is. It's like gardening, where you have to wait. You wait for a year to see like, where is the sun? How many hours this spot get? Blah, 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 like that kind of thing. And then you go, okay, now I'm going to plant my seeds and watch it blossom because I know where the little patches are that I want to nourish. I want to nourish that because you can't do it in the city. You have to be very specific about who you want to collaborate with. And it's like that with everything. You pick and choose who you like to work with. And that's why Issa Rae says this all the time, find your people.
Yeah.
Once you find your people, you're like, okay, that's who I want to work with. Yeah. Yeah. And I did have some people moving here in the first stages because, like I said, I worked in a film studio in the Philippines, and a lot of my friends who were in LA were from those days. So that was like 10 years ago.
Oh, cool. Wow.
And so when I first came here, I knew who
you had an establishment. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. But then I also was like, okay, things have changed. Some of the people I prefer to be friends with and maybe not work with. And now I want to work with more women. So that's why Film Girlz Brunch was really important to me.
And was that the reason that kind of sparked the Girls Brunch, was because of that, of just kind of like you want to find your, maybe circle is a wrong word, I don't know, community? I guess community is just the best way of,
is the right word.
Yeah, your community of people. Was that just the primary reason in that how aggressive the industry is in LA, and like you said, how big it is too? You can't really scale that, and it's not, I would imagine, in the Philippines, where the scale of how big the film industry is probably much smaller, and you probably know way more people than something like here, where it's just an oasis of crazy people.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say that I'm fairly lucky in the sense that when I initially moved here, I wasn't thinking, oh, this is the place that's going to make me. I had already felt like I was successful in my own way.
Just like Christine.
Yeah. Exactly. We define success, like you should define it how you want to define it. But I was like, okay, I'm going to learn. I came here with my family. And so I didn't really have that strong desire to really connect until I had worked on a set with a bunch of mostly men, actually all of them.
Sounds like a typical set.
Aside of
a
the hair
sausage
and
party.
makeup,
Yeah.
And not a fun one.
No.
So I had worked on that set, and then I had just felt like I had spent 10 years building up something for myself where I could choose who I bring around me. And I feel like I want to do that here. And so I don't want to be like dependent on this group of people who I thought could give me the work or get me to the next stage or whatever you think when you're moving here.
Yeah.
And I was like, a year later, I was kind of like, I'm going to be like Ava DuVernay and Issa Rae.
Yeah, I love Ava DuVernay and Issa Rae.
I want to be the person who's at the top and gets to bring in all of the people that feel good energy, aren't here to suck your whatever from all of your
They're just trying to take advantage and move on. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Film Girlz Brunch really was about initially just building the community. Okay, let's have a casual meetup where we're not on set with a bunch of sausages and that we can also talk about what our experience is, and also talk about how we can make the industry, so cliche, but the industry better. Like, I don't want to hear all the time, like, oh, this is how it is, babe. This is
Yeah.
This is just how it is. No, it's not.
That's gross. Yeah. Yeah. And you have that outlet with the brunch, right? Of you have that outlet of these are the core people that would understand me better than like the sausages. Like we're not gonna fucking understand the intricacies, but we can acknowledge how men are gross and men should do better. And I always strive to do better every single day. I'm not a perfect man, but I'm trying, man.
And we do see that. So don't get me wrong. Like there's a lot of crew that I love working with that are men, and
yeah,
of all different spectrums. But yeah, there was just like one particular shoot that I was on, and I was like, okay, I'm going to decide to do things differently, and I can't do it with these people.
Yeah. And that's kind of what everyone really needs. Like, I'm even trying to, I realize that as I work more in the film industry, I realize more and more that the people who I hang out with are people who I work with, and we need to hang out more outside of the place that we actually work at. You know what I mean? It's just, I do hang out with my friends. I work with them. It's like you got to make an effort to hang out outside of that. And I think that brunch thing is also in partial, like a fun thing that y'all can have that's outside of work, and you guys can just like share horror stories, because that's what we do as filmmakers, is we just share horror stories.
And it's grown like a little bit, right? Like there's so many of us that like connect in different ways, like not working, like even hiking, and we have like I started a writing group, and some people are in there who aren't even writing like anything related to the movie industry or TV industry. So it's really nice. It's grown a lot more than we first anticipated. Yeah.
Oh, the brunch, you mean? Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Right on. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Because there's a lot more people who need that group.
There's a Chicago chapter now, and I think we're also going to probably plan on either incorporating into a nonprofit or having a fiscal sponsor that's somebody else. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, but Film Girlz Brunch has significantly impacted a lot of people's lives. And I think it is something just super positive in a lonely city, just any big metropolitan city, because when you have such a big space, community is so important. Mm-hmm. It's hard when, especially moving from a city where community was taken, it was built in. I didn't realize that there are places that don't just already have that. And so I think that's the biggest thing I learned moving to LA, was having to build community from scratch. So
yeah,
that's, if anything, what I have taken away from LA is creating community and building community when there isn't, and how important having community, even just having community beyond film, is important.
Find your people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I came here like when I was first settling in, just to give some context, in Canada, we do a lot of work on reconciliation in terms of like, how can we give back to the land and the Indigenous people who were first there. And so I really came into this space with that kind of intention in mind, that if I was going to be in a place, I didn't want to be the person who's draining the place. I wanted to be someone who was fostering something that could give back. And being part of Film Girlz Brunch, originally it was Imani and Kayuani who had first started it. They were the ones that first put the first one together. They met at Holly Shorts, and then Imani had just moved from Chicago. Kayuani lives, I think, in the OC. And
they're both founders, by the way.
Yeah, they're two other founders. So they put together the first one, and then I showed up at the first one, which is the one that Christine went. And I was like, hey, I just moved here basically 4 months ago. Let me know if you want to build this. And then it was like a snowball. It was basically like,
yeah. That's how it works with Christine.
Yeah. Yeah. So, And then Christine and I have just been doing so much stuff together. I think it was like, I don't even know, that within the first month, we were like in a producer's lab together. We've been working on Holiday Across the Pond, a feature. Now we have a series that we've just been shooting for fun that we basically took a year to think about. And
It's our life.
it was out of the idea. It was basically out of the idea of we are always like, when you want to do this, when you want to do that. And because we're always working, we're very similar in our energy and the way that we work. But also I feel like I'm more chill. So the whole entire series is like these two women who are trying to not work
Yeah.
and trying to chill. And each one of us have different, each episode is 3 minutes. And it's just been really fun because we've been like, we work too much. And I'm a mom and I have all this other stuff to do. So how can we just do something for fun rather than waiting for the best circumstance, right?
Yeah.
Waiting
But
for
we
the
still
money
end up working anyway.
in the video, in each sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some would say on the outside, this idea of fun that we're doing these shoots is actually still work. But
It's work at the end of the day.
It feels like play. It feels like play.
Yeah.
We're like dressing up, throwing baking powder at each other, and we're fully grown adults.
Yeah.
I know, but that's just, it is a microcosm of our life. It's friends in film, but it is based off of us also trying to hang out with each other. And every time we try to hang out with each other, we come up with
We talk about
film.
work or we work. Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten frustrated, or you've gotten frustrated with, we've each gotten frustrated with each other where we're like, wait, why are we talking about work? Like, we weren't talking about work, but how are we now talking about work? Like, how did that happen?
Kelly brings it up all the time too.
Yeah. Where we're like, we are going to hang out. Cut to 5 minutes later, we're like all now talking about work.
Talk about locations and sets and stuff like that.
Or like we're coming up with some idea.
Yeah.
And adding
ideas
more
too.
work. Or adding more work. Yeah.
But I think it's just because that's just all we think about, really, at the end of the day. That's what I think at the end, I just need to come to the conclusion that I'm just a loser.
No,
because I think about work all day, every day. That's all I do.
But is it work or is it actually creativity?
Or
so
is it
like
play.
Sure. Or it feels like play to me. I have fun doing it. Yeah. But talking about it with my immigrant dad, my dad just, so what do? You fill out a W-2 or something? Like, who's your boss? Who do you work for? They just don't get it. But
they don't. Yeah. I remember in business school, I would do all these side videos and stuff for fun. And I distinctly remember a classmate being like, are you doing this for a class? I'm like, no, I just do it for fun.
Oh, man,
like,
I like it.
They're like, what?
Why are you hating? Stop hating.
Like, why are you doing all this? Yeah. They were very confused. Why I was spending this much time making all this. Yeah.
that is the life of an artist.
I know.
I feel like it is.
Because I'd rather be, that was what I would spend doing all my weekends and stuff. I would literally just be filming, editing, making all the things on the weekends. And somehow people still thought I was at every party. And I'm like, no, it's because you're talking about the shit I'm making. So you think I'm at the party with you.
Yeah.
Every time.
Life changes though a little bit when you become a parent. So it was like, I am blessed in the fact that I have a community in Ottawa that do not work in this industry at all. So when I go back, it's very much like a separate, it's its own container. And it's
a different world, probably.
Yeah, and they're all moms. Their kids are all the same age.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I was missing when I first got here is like, I don't have my mom community. And slowly over time, I've been building it. But it really does put a lot of things in perspective when you have a child of what is a priority to do that won't take away both my own resources to care for myself and also care for my family. Similarly, I was like 80-hour work weeks, doing whatever as much as possible, and then experienced enormous burnout. And I think I'm still recovering from that while having a child. I was a single parent for 5 years. So that was actually the first half of me growing the company was as a solo entrepreneur,
Wow.
a solo parent with my
When you
child.
started Kilam Media? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like, I was like, okay, I can't get hired anywhere. No one wants to hire me. I ended up getting a job in catering and craft services. And my son was like not even a year old. So I was still needing to nurse and all of these things. And I just remember being like, we're at 16 hours and I'm like so full right now. And
Oh, my
I'm
God.
putting all of my money to this daycare that I can't even come home. So I was like, I can't actually work in this industry with this little child as a single parent. I didn't have really family that could support me, especially for that long. Like some days you go over and you're like, and so I'm just like, so I ended up leaving the film industry to start my own company and was really able to have the autonomy and flexibility that I needed in order to also care for my kids. So he didn't go into daycare after that. I would do basically my shift would be like 6:30 a.m. He would wake up and then I would be with him until his nap time, and then I would work during his nap time, and then around 7:30 he would go to bed and I would work from 7:30 till maybe 2 in the morning, and I would start that all over again. So that was like my
So you're
first
sleeping for 3 hours, 4 hours? Oh, my God. Like,
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, I've done the labor. I definitely need to rest. And like some people still think, what do you mean this is your rest? I'm like, I've really pared down. I've really pared down a lot of the things that I used to take on. So I don't know how we got there, but
No, that was a good segue because I was going to ask. That was one of the questions: was how did you even start Kilam Media? And you answered it, which was it was survival. Yeah.
yeah. And at the time, my city didn't have a lot of people who worked in this industry. Similar to Christine, I was like a one-person show. I learned a lot of my skills again from the film studio. So the first 4 months of working at the film studio, I was a production intern, so I got paid. I never went to film school. So I got paid to learn. And then during the internship, we also had to go to class. We'd learn editing and producing and all of these things that they wanted in order to like help their shows and movies and things like that. So I took a lot of skills away. And when I came back to Ottawa, again, like there was maybe like I only knew 10 other people that really were doing what I was doing at the time. We didn't have Instagram or like all of these. Maybe Facebook was the only thing. It wasn't like, oh, these reels. It really
Yeah.
looked different
for
back
social
then.
media.
So,
Yeah.
so being like one of the few people who could do 360 campaigns, like everything from photography to graphic design to video and like doing it all, it was lucrative then, but it also was, it just was like what everyone started to do. And now it's really oversaturated, changing, evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you
So,
remember your first client?
my first, yes, but it wasn't in the film industry.
Okay, mine wasn't either. That's what
Yeah.
I was. That's what I was trying to think about. I was like, who was my first client?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my first client. Okay, so I'm going to tell you mine and then I want to know yours.
Okay.
So my first client when I first registered my company was a mural.
Was it what?
A mural. Yeah, so when I first started my company, I was doing like everything arts related on top of like media. So anything arts related. I was selling my paintings and I was like still a hairstylist at the time and so my very first one was this mural that was out like maybe an hour away outside of the city, and it was to paint this food truck, and it was Archie's food truck, and they like gave me an idea. I sketched it out. I like would drive there every weekend. I hired someone and I made enough money to basically, at the time, I didn't have a car and we don't have to get into it, but basically my bank account was emptied by my ex-husband. But so it was $1,000 and I use that $1,000 to buy a $600 car so that I can continue to do more gigs like that. Yeah.
Wow. Now that's hustling. That's hustling. That's crazy. And how long did it take you to finish the taco truck? You said it was a mural?
A food truck.
Or
Yeah,
the
it
food
was a
truck.
mural.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like it was like called Archie, so it was like big red lettering. The mural was like this tractor with like corn and like birds and all of these things. I might still have a picture of it, but
that's cool.
3 weekends I would drive there.
Oh, so it took a while. Okay, so almost a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was kind of cool because I actually was able to bring Nathan. So like since Nathan's my son, so since I can remember, he's been coming with me everywhere. Like sometimes I would bring him to like my like photo shoots or something, and he'd be like sleeping in his little carrier. But yeah. Now he sometimes whatever, Mom.
Yeah. I'm doing my own stuff now. I have food to eat.
Yeah. What was yours, Christine?
It was actually a video.
Okay.
So it was production. I was trying to think back. I was hired to do some training videos for a company. And the company I hired, basically, the actors were like random people that I just happened to know because I made some. I'm trying to think how I even hired one of them was my friend, who's actually my tax accountant right now. So he was one of the actors. And then the other 3, I think I worked with them on other sets when I like PA'd or something. And it was a corporate client. So I think it wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough for me to buy the camera that I shot the commercial with. But it was the first time I used that camera. I bought like a T2i, basically. I only knew of that
Canon?
camera.
Is that a Canon? Okay.
It was a Canon T2i. And I bought that camera. I knew of that camera because I had used that camera because my friend had that camera for a different project that I helped him on for fun like a long time ago. And I was like, oh, that camera worked really well on that fun project, so I'm going to buy that camera. But on that project, because I just bought the camera, I was learning how to use the camera on the client site. So I definitely was like Googling how to do the settings while I was shooting the project. Yeah.
You were just like YouTubing how to use a camera while you were shooting.
While I was shooting. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know how to change the settings or anything.
That's hilarious. That's great.
Make it till you make it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I was like, this doesn't look good.
Yeah.
1 second.
1 second. Let me look on my phone here.
Let me figure out some things. Stand by. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was definitely Googling, like, how do I change ISO?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I was definitely, I was really figuring it out on the job, basically.
Can you wake up your computer, Christine?
Yes. So I was definitely figuring things out on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first gig, was me figuring shit out right on the job, but I was being paid to do the job. It still turned out great, but like, the client doesn't need to know that I was definitely Googling how to use my camera while I was shooting the video.
I remember there was one shoot I had, and it was like my first big set decking gig. And I think it was like the second day. The first day I had first day jitters, but the second day was the worst because they wanted me to mount this TV, and it was for this short film. And they said that, the owner of the property is totally cool with mounting this TV onto this wall. And I'm like, cool, okay. And I don't know how to mount a TV at all. And so I had to look up how to do it on YouTube while we were like mounting the TV. And I told them too, I know how to mount a TV. And they're like, okay, cool. Meanwhile, I'm there with my toolkit and my phone is sitting right there. And then some old dude on this YouTube video saying, I'm gonna show you how to use a drill bit in the planks of the wood. It's like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And hey, I now know how to mount a TV, but that was like 6 years ago. And I do that all the fucking time.
I feel like I do that all the time too. I feel like
I do it all the time.
Is being able to be bold enough to say yes.
Yeah.
And
or I call Kelly. I go on YouTube or I call Kelly and I'm like, what do I do?
Kelly is our other friend from Flame in Austin. She's one of like, I'm gonna say she was one of my interns as well for Moth of Flame, and she was the earliest person that came to the studios. It was just me, based for the Moth of Flame, and then somebody was like, "Oh, Kelly wants to learn more stuff about film," and I was like, "Great," and then Kelly just stayed. So Kelly's a really good friend now. And then she co-founded Get Reelisms with me with Jason.
Yeah,
but Jason was also another person who unsuspectingly was like, "I want to do more film stuff," and then got pulled in and stayed as well. So
yeah.
And Kelly taught me everything art department. She's a production designer and she is killer. She knows the frame, she knows what to dress, she knows everything. And it's out of control. It's like even like very obscure shit that I would never thought about getting myself into. And I'm just like, hey, how do you hang a painting with fishing wire? And she was like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. And she just explains it. I'm like, what? This is witchcraft. What do you mean? So
that's the thing, though. None of us went to film school. We all went to the figure it out school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure it out or you're gonna fail. Yeah. Figure it out or you're fucked. Like,
figure it out or you're not gonna get paid.
Yeah, basically. That's the fastest way to learn is being on set and being like, here you go. Figure it out right now or you're fucked. Yeah. So you were the one who said you can do it. Yeah,
yeah, it's true.
100%.
You're the desperate one. Yeah.
I love that way of learning, though. I love that way of learning.
Being thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, I always like a little bit of like
desperation.
Desperation, survival.
It feels more survival than desperation, if anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah. Especially too, you only have so much time as well. So it's not, you can just, because it's not about, I have a few hours to figure this shit out. When you're on set, you literally have within the time limit that your AD gives you. And that's it. There's nothing you can do. So when you don't have something completed, you don't have the luxury of process of elimination. It's either it'll work or it just won't.
Yeah. Even in live production, I do a lot of live multicam live stream productions, and that's pretty much like you have one chance. Like some of the festivals that we've worked at, like our most fun and most creative and most stressful live stream are the ones that we've done for PIQ. A music and arts festival that happens in Ottawa, and it's hosted by a nonprofit events organization called Debaser. And normally, like for a high-end live stream or like live broadcast, think Super Bowl, the stuff that they do at Coachella, like those are like months in advance of planning. Like you are testing, like anything that's a live broadcast, you're like testing and choreographing your routine, the camera routine, and hitting your marks and doing all of this stuff for like months in advance. And it's with a lot of people and like a huge budget in order to achieve this. But for Peak, it would be like this ragtag. First, it started off with just me and Chris, who's my husband, and we would run 2 rooms in this. It's basically like an old arts heritage building. And there would be like 2 shows playing, like sometimes melting into each other. And I would have to run back and forth, disconnect the SDI cable, run back to the other one.
Really?
our camera.
Oh man.
Yeah, and do this thing. And it was just like the two of us at the time. And then it expanded to this. I think one of our most complex ones was like we brought in a ASL interpreter who was from Atlanta, and then the show was in Ottawa, but we were like live switching from LA. And so we had our camera operators in Ottawa who had like set everything up. And it's being on that type of high intensity, high pressure, like work. When I get on a regular set, I'm like,
Yeah, it is. It's a breeze. Yeah. It's like a cakewalk.
I'm like, oh, we have time. Like
We can do
oh,
it
we can
again?
talk? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
one of the worst experiences that we had was like we had a live show, and like everything it's like dependent on internet and power. Power
Yeah.
obviously is very important. And this 10 minutes, I think, before the show was to end, someone decided to unplug the power, the main source of power from the wall. And we were like, why? So I basically jumped over the crowd. I was like, I saw the feed go
You
down.
became
and
Superman.
I, like,
He just
yeah, I was like, I plugged it back in. I was like, what are you doing? And
Oh
he's
my
like,
god.
I was charging my phone. And I was like, no, you never unplug anything. Like,
Don't ever unplug anything. Oh my god.
anything. Don't unplug. Who does that?
Who the fuck?
Anyway,
Oh my god.
you don't unplug anything in a room at all, ever.
Well, especially with so much equipment, and you said there was not a lot of people in your crew, so
In the first stages, there wasn't a lot of people, and then it grew. Yeah, but the first couple ones, that one in particular, was just me and Chris.
oh my god.
So not only was I running back and forth like between two rooms and camera operating those things, and also trying to get everything figured
Yeah.
out, I was like basically super womaning over the
Yeah. Typically, because I'm not familiar with live production, typically how many people usually would have a smooth going live production? Ballpark, roughly how many people you would probably say need to be there?
I guess it depends on
The production, yeah.
Yeah, it's always dependent on the production, but I would say for what we were doing in terms of this music festival and multi-rooms, with multi-rooms and multi-cam, we were